Alrighty, let's just go ahead and get this started before my video memory pops out. We'll see how long the texture for the floor likes to stay in. Oh boy. Okay, never mind, we're going. Okay, cool. At first it wasn't letting me like look around or anything. So, I am gonna make a smaller version of the cement tile. Probably like a 2048 and a 1024. Just to see what works and if it still looks just as good. Because the video memory likes to pop out and be like, aha, none of that for you. So we can see the arcs over there kind of just been like more put together. We still have a lot we got to build out geometry wise. This ice room is really the only one we've spent a lot of time doing so far. Here we have the floor mats. You'll just walk across when you're in the hallway. Kind of looking just a lot of grunge, a lot of dirt. They're not really like painted or anything. The material, well, they are, but it's like a spray paint kind of thing, so it kind of just falls off as you step on it. It's not really like an edge wear and tear. Maybe we should add some more of that in the future, but here's the seat. Got a little rebel symbol on there. Just some wear and tear, people sitting on it. Ooh, okay then. That was fun. Not entirely sure what that was. Uh, then we have the door. This is the door insert. Maybe I should lower my movement speed when I get to the actual final video. See different scratches and whatnot on it. Metallics. Has the nice paint texture on the outside. You can see the steel on the inside. The doors will kind of just be in the middle of that though, so be a bit better of an assembly. This is the door insert, so it has these holes. And just the doorway from the other angle. Go over here. You can see that I've finally now fixed these tiles. These are now just 1024 and they look perfectly fine. Like there's no issues with them. I don't have an issue with them. They just look really freaking cool. Maybe overall the grouch is a little bit too big. That might be about my only actual issue. That's more on the modeling side of things. I don't know, I'm going over here. We've already seen these. This is what I needed to show. Updated this. Has some edge wear on it now. Bit more just wear and tear. Come over here. Now we have all the decals. Starting off, we have this little thing up here. The layer you swipe your card on the side. Doesn't show as well, obviously, as it does in Painter, because Painter is ridiculously good. We have these two different cards. We have the Rebel symbol, which really is not much of a use, because it's like, I actually use that like within Painter, just to show that. So that within Painter, I would add the grunge and everything to it. I use it as a decal within Painter. We have our snow decal. And we have a couple different tire tracks, depending on where I want to put them. We have one that's a bit more transparent, and one that's a bit more opaque. Cool. That is all of those. Now we can start going through the textures. Cool. This one just used a nice little targa for it, so for both of these, we're able to just do opacity and base color from that. Snow decal is one of the more complicated ones. Has a pretty good amount of things going for it. And the entire reason why I'm going one by one now instead of having them all pre-prepared is because this seemed to have worked for keeping my textures intact. Whereas I tried opening all of these beforehand, and then it was all of a sudden just like, oh no, now you're rendering too much. Which I don't get why it's rendering it if it's off screen, but it does. Decal keypad. I've also just found it's really good when I have my thing to where it's like, for roughness at least, where it all just multiplies by 3. And that kind of brings it to this little shininess, yet dullness that I want. And I feel like it's more accurate to what I see within Painter. Boom. This one is PNGs. Or maybe they're PNGs. I might have exported them out as targets, but they were smaller images anyway. Like, they were like 570 by 570 instead of, or 550 by 550. One of those two. So nothing extremely big. And the opacity masks and whatnot, they were just kind of like outed in orange, outed in blue. That's it for the decals. Move all the way up for the actual textures, which we can try to find. We have a new tile texture, 1024, but instead of tile, that was the 4096. It's interesting why disk size is bigger on that, but that is not really a concern. C2048, we have a 4096 capability. I don't think I ever made the version for it, because I was like, oh yeah, 2048 looks fine. That's how it is for a lot of things, honestly. It's like, well, we don't really need the other version. It'd be cool to have the other version, but we don't really need it. You just open up all 3 of these. Or maybe it only opened the one. But okay. This is one of the doors. Probably doorway. Then we have door insert. Once again, my whole multiply by 3 thing. Oh yeah, you can definitely see how this is just over here now. Door hole. Which is just the door that gets inserted by the other one. And there really wasn't many textures this time around. We have floor mat. And then for the final assignment, all I'll have to do is my TIE fighter, which I have split into 3 different things. The wings, the guns, and the body. So that will have 3 different textures on it. So Lord help me with my video processing if this stuff is already killing it and I haven't even assembled most of it. So I'll probably be downgrading a lot of textures. And then fixed floor light, which I just simply added some like edgeware too, because I finally figured out how to do all that. You basically just have to bake out everything, which I was not doing for a lot of stuff. I was just bringing in ID masks for things that needed it, and that was about it for my entire process. Close. Texturing. Oh, now it's opening over here. Futuristic. Decals. There's just a lot of things this time around. This one especially, it's just like, oh, a lot of painter files, a lot of stuff like that. There's even some Photoshop files, in all honesty. But those were fairly simple, and they're kind of self-explanatory within the Unreal, because you saw the cards. And then for the keypad, I once again brought it into Photoshop out of the Eric Mesh for the text, which is just the Star Wars text language. I know you crash, I just don't care because I had Unreal and that open at the same time. And this is the part where Markwood skips a lot. Hello, Markwood, if you're seeing this somehow. Because I'd be very surprised. Seat. 20,048. Textures. I don't know how I somehow miraculously found the same exact hotkey I'm supposed to use in here, because I think it's different within Unreal, which is what I was using a lot of previously. See the different wear and tear. A rebel symbol. Boop, buff. Just this little red rebel symbol. The mask. If it let me, I guess it's not moving around like a decal like it does on other things. Then we have a little grunge. And then this is just the color selection. Make sure it's just on that. Interesting. Right. Because that was just me testing the grunge back here. So this is just simply something else. Because I was like, oh. And then I realized, oh, I had to probably bake out my normals. And that was probably why it wasn't letting me. Which is why I did everything later. So I think I baked out everything on this one. No. Um, we have some rust leaks. That's not the one that's facing us, I guess. Yeah, that one's the one that's facing us. And then there's another one on this side. Oh, we gotta rotate more. Boom, rest leak. Top of chair has, ooh, actually can't tell when this ends. Quite a bit of things going for it. Because it has the artificial leather, then it has the baseball cap, and a couple different things with grunge layers and whatnot. I'm actually very happy this turned out way flatter than it looks in here, because this looks really weird and bumpy, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. I kind of just wanted the color deterioration, which is what we get in Unreal. Boom. Paint wrap. Kind of hard to tell because obviously it's a lighter paint. Keep opening these, you can see more and more stuff on the inside. Oh yeah, and then this is the chair steel, which is just my nice steel scratch, which just has my steel underneath, and then I added just a bunch of stuff. Oh boy. That is that. Discard any changes. Door hole. Now the real goal is to finish this before breakfast is still, well, breakfast is still serving. So I still have like another 42 minutes I could put in this video within reason. Well, it's not going to do that much because we're already in the end game of it, but it's just loading buffering times. But yeah, a lot of my textures could probably be brought down a level to save myself on video memory. And that'll probably be like the last thing I do. Because hopefully by the end of today, we'll at least have a lot of things assembled. If not, have the TIE Fighter textured. It all depends what order I feel like going in. Because I really have to create a lot of lighting. And hopefully I can bake the lighting in maybe. Not sure how easy that is. That could probably also save a lot on my videos. I was about to just exit right out of here as if I'm not showing off textures. Because you've already seen the model. So the reason I did this is because I actually exported it out as smart texture. But level 1 of grunge, the steel underneath, which is just my own texture. Like, it is not something over here. It is something of my own creation. I have a couple different smart things that I've created on my own. Plastic grainy. And then I went in and manually painted out so much of this stuff. Because at this point, I still didn't realize how, like, smart masks worked, where you had to, like, bake out the masks on, like, all the different IDs and everything. Maybe I'm just being dumb right now. Maybe I should just, like, be, like, opening the new versions, well, new files that we gotta look at in the open recently section. Granted, a lot of the open recently could just be the carrier stuff that I've been working on, but that's besides the point. And hopefully that all turns out very well. I haven't really seen what that looks like yet within the engine, but I guess I'll be seeing that during Milestone 3 presentations. Probably should get a rendered image of that just for my own portfolio. Because I don't have anything of all the pieces assembled together, I just have each thing separately. And I can have my complaints about it, but I don't know how much of that is just lighting within this versus the lighting within Unreal, because the lighting within Unreal is different. And obviously it depends on the sky dome and whatnot, but I don't think we're using the really different sky dome within the carrier project. Anywho, door texture, same thing. Level 1 grunge. Has this plastic grainy thing going on. Steel underneath. Once again, it's my own texture that I created personally, and I've been using for so many things. I think this door, I don't know if it was door insert that I did first, it probably was. But door insert or whatever that I first used it on was where I created it, made it a smart texture. And of course I used it on all three of the door pieces, door hole, door insert, doorway. But I've also been using it on like all my carrier stuff now, at least anything metallic. So the turret I worked on, the shell of the ship I worked on, the border I worked on, the fence, and kind of adding the white paint on top, which I created a different texture for that called turret paint, which is its own smart texture that I had created, which is really just like a basic kind of color texture in a sense. And then it's kind of like, oh, add all your grunge layers you need on top of that because ooh, you don't really need it for anything else. Once again, like I could sit here for a while and be like, ooh, look at this texture. Look at all the detail I put in. Look at how much I tore away. Yes, I didn't tear away from the other side. It's unfortunate. I didn't realize I didn't do that, but I guess I can have things rotated to where you're only seeing the one side that's like matters anyway. Because this is the side that you'll probably be seeing for the most part, as long as I'm smart about it, and not so much the other side where it's like hard to see the detail on the top. This one makes it more obvious if there's slots and everything up there. Once again, whole level 1 grunge. Let that reappear. Plastic grainy. Still underneath. Discard. We're almost done. For the most part. I mean, obviously we have a couple other things we could show, but they're unnecessary. Like, you've already seen the images for the key cards. Pull those up probably, though. Because I don't really mind. It was a lot of fun working on those. You kind of... I'll probably just generally show the things, but there's no real reason to go to the point where it's like... Because it's not hard. It's just you kind of draw the thing. I found some nice images for the key cards, which I just copied into Photoshop. Made some masks, though. So honestly, the select mask thing is really good now. So I didn't really have to do too much effort into even selecting them. It's just kind of getting them in there, repositioning them, creating the orange and blue backgrounds that I liked, creating the masks I liked to also make them transparent. Because I believe they're like 20% transparent. So as you can see, like there's like no detail put on the bottom. Because that is unnecessary. But you can see how beautiful and rough this texture is. Because I used freaking calf skin to make it. Which is disgusting. But I basically increased the tiling on that very extremely. It's at 32, which is not actually the highest thing this thing can go. I've had some ridiculous tiling with the carrier project, especially for the top of the ship. And as you can see, there's more grunge on the top than there is in the in-betweens. At least that's the intention. This folder has a lot of just dirt. Okay. Boop. Bop. Let that come back in. The casket, I guess I also changed the color of. And then I put a layer of plastic mat around the outside of it. And that is that for that. I wonder what the show details button is. Does it like just show you the details of all the changes you made? Because for this, it's probably like, oh, you turned on and off, on and off, on and off. Stretching in my chair, elbowing the wall on accident. Hello, Eustace Kid. Letting Painter load up again. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Hello and welcome. This is the most normal maps the world has ever seen. Oh, it's right. It's on 2D right now. Is it? No, it's on 3D. Okay. Cool. Okay, this is just really weird. Anywho. But yeah. Keypad. Just a ton of normals. Because all the normals are in here. So if I just went mirror, it would presumably become flat. Yeah. Versus turret paint. Once again, a little smart texture I was talking about before. Has a lot of this stuff going on, a lot of dust, a lot of things, a lot of grunges that you can add to it. Steel underneath is just what's underneath, obviously. It's like, oh, if you turn that off, you're gonna want steel on. Then you're gonna want turned on, which I turned off the normal maps for steel, I'm pretty sure, on this one. Yeah, because I turned off the height maps because I still want to deal with that. I want this just to be a smooth thing. Lenses is once again another texture I've created, another smart texture. It's very simple. It's just like a slightly glossy thing that just has the option for colors. And then of course, as you can see, we've added some normal stamps. Otherwise, like boom, boom, boom. We have the nuts. We have these. We have two rectangles that are made area you slide your card down. That is it for that. Let's see if I can just pull up Photoshop real quick. I like to use the 2021 version still, probably because my computer dies if it has the 2023 version. If we can load that up real quick, I'll be able to show you a couple more things, and then that should be it for the video, because we are already at 22 minutes. This is ridiculous. Thank goodness I started this as early as I did, because breakfast is still available for another 30 minutes. Granted, I'm also not usually up this early unless I'm doing work, which I work at 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. usually. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Photoshop flamingos. Do 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 do. I think this was just the edition I was out also when I first started coming here. So it's kind of been the edition I stuck with because it just worked. I really haven't had issues with it. I've had a couple with like updating the later versions of it, and they just die on me. But like Photoshop on its own, pretty fine and dandy. Can't believe Photoshop is taking longer to load than Substance Painter, which I guess makes sense because it's just never liked me. Like this thing crashes my computer, not my computer, but crashes itself on my computer way more than anything else. But yeah, just tire track opaque, tire track PSD. Made some updates that I didn't really update that. I kind of looked at it just to be able to get the text on there. Almost TGA, color TGA. So I was making that. I will just open the ID mask. You can also see the snow decal. You can see the rebel symbol stuff. Hello. Boom, Control H, get rid of that. But yeah, this one's for the blue key card. Has its own little alpha. That's the color version. Turn both those off. We have the orange one, which has its own alpha. This is like a 20% gray thing, just so they are always, it's like a layer way down there. But orange, orange background, and I guess just for the fun of showing it, the original image, which I had based them off of, and then of course just boop, Control S, and that is everything. I could have gone a bit more in depth on some of the other decals in Photoshop, but they're much more explainable in photos than just these two are. As you can see, they're also very small, 570 by 570, which is fine for how small they are in the scene. And that is everything for now. See you next time.